Okay. I don't know if you noticed when you came in, but I had sprayed some lavender and some orange essential oil. And that's something to basically help you feel calm, but also energized at the same time. Because I don't want you to be so calm that you're going to be like falling asleep. That could be a big problem when you're trying to. But I do a lot of work with essential oils as well as nutrition and basically helping you to feed your body, mind, and soul, not just the physical aspect, but just feed the body on all different levels. So my tagline now is nutrition and motion. It's nutrition for body, mind, spirit, and sometimes your sport too, because I do a lot of sports nutrition as well. So I did have that oil in here, but the one that I want you to actually, you can put on, this is called I Am Boldly Me. This is a blend that I do a lot of custom blends with essential oils, just because it helps you to basically honor the needs that you have for yourself. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is how do you take care of you? How do you actually offer yourself love to find the harmony, to find the balance, to find the wholeness of who you really are and who you're meant to be? And sometimes we kind of hide behind other aspects, and then we have some shame, embarrassment, or guilt about something that we do. We give all our energy out to everybody else and take care of their needs, and then all we're stuck with is overwhelm. And then in that place of overwhelm, we can't think straight. We can't take care of ourselves. We don't even know what we need to take care of ourselves. So a lot of times it's the essential oils that help to help us come back to being grounded and helping us to actually understand what it is that we need to do and come back to that place of being centered. But when we're in that state of overwhelm, then our eating goes kind of out the window as well. And I do a lot of work with the emotional aspects of eating issues, because a lot of times you know what it is that you need to do, but the emotions that haven't been healed or the overwhelm that comes up, that basically triggers the food issues. And let's say, you're in a state of overwhelm. So instead of, you're looking at everything that you have to do and go, oh my God, where am I going to start? I'm just so frustrated. I'm so overwhelmed. And those chips are really crunchy and they're really yummy. And you just go and eat the whole bag. And we're not talking, the little snack bag. We're talking like the big bag, because you just can't stop because you're in that place of overwhelm. Well, then what happens after you eat that whole big bag? You have self-judgment. You've now created a situation on top of the overwhelm that you had in the first place of, oh my God, I am such a bad person. I can't believe I ate this stuff. I am just, I'm just useless. I have no control. What the hell is my problem? And then that creates another emotion and another layer of self-loathing instead of self-love. And you start to control the food that you're eating, but then that's not actually feeding your emotions or feeding the body in other levels. It's actually now creating more of the imbalance, which is taking you more into the place of self-loathing instead of the place of self-love. Does that all make sense? Mm-hmm. And so if you look at the back of the sheet, you'll see that there's, these 4 quadrants of the emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental areas. They're all related. And what I do is try to determine where the imbalance lies, because once you bring that balance back with the nutrition, with the essential oils, with energy work, you can actually focus on, well, what is it that I need? What is it that I need to be the best person that I can be? Here we are working with other people to help them find their dream homes, right? Because you're here helping others in that arena. My job is basically to help you be the best person you can be and honor the needs that you have. So we all have needs in these 4 quadrants, but we also have wants in those 4 quadrants. But they're all related. If you eat like crap, then you're going to probably get further away from the goals that you have, because you're not feeding the body on a physical level, but you're also not feeding it on a spiritual or a mental or an emotional level, because a lot of those foods that we end up craving are the junk foods, and then they trigger other imbalances also in the gut as well as in the brain, and they're all related, and it cuts you off from your intuitive side, which is also the spiritual side. And if you're not feeding the spiritual side somehow, then that throws off the emotions, that throws off the physical, that throws off the emotional. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So a little of what I'm going to be talking about, I want to send this around, because this is the I Am Boldly Me blend. And I do a lot of custom essential oil blends.
Where do you like to put this?
You can put it on your wrists. I would just put it on your wrist right now. and then you can kind of sniff it, and it'll smell a little bit different in about 5 minutes, just because it'll blend with your body chemistry. But I do customized blends with basically these 5 oils, and sometimes I add more based on what your needs are going to be on an emotional or physical level. But the I Am Boldly Me comes with the affirmation too, is I live my life while boldly embracing my true nature with love, compassion, and enthusiasm. So if that's what you're trying to really embody, you are trying to embody who you are on at least the emotional level, so that then you can actually have more oomph in all the other aspects of your life. It spurs your creativity because it helps you to feel more grounded and basically tap into the creativity, whatever that creativity is. Sometimes it's, you got to take a break and, make some jewelry. That's one of my creativity things. With my nutrition practice, a lot of what I do is I have to be creative with creating newsletters, creating blogs, creating videos, because I need to plant that seed for others to understand what I do through the videos. But I need that creativity, and sometimes I will just take that bottle of essential oils and just sniff it and go, all right, now I'm calmer. Now I can have that inspirational, creative moment and go ahead and go forward with what I need to do. So you might feel a little different after using that essential oil, and I can make some custom blends after the class too, if anybody's interested. But the 5 oils that I put in here, there's spikenard, which is the oil of compassion. Well, who do we need to have compassion for? Ourselves. I mean, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is how do you love yourself? We talk about being giving. Well, we give to everybody else and we love everybody else, but have we loved ourselves? When we look in the mirror, do we love ourselves, or do we love our flaws, or do we just look at those flaws and go, you are so disgusting, like what is your problem? And that basically throws the whole day off, because you've already put that negative emotion into the brain, and you're feeding on that pattern the rest of the day. If we could at least have that self-love, if you had your best friend with you all the time, would you criticize them all the time? They probably wouldn't be your friend for very long. So it's that same part with what we do to take care of ourselves is, do we love ourselves like we love our best friend? Are we our best friend? When your best friend comes to you with a problem, do you give them the advice that works against their true nature as you know it? Probably not. Will you tell them something that is going to stress them out some more? Are you going to be negative talking to them? If they gave you if your best friend gave you a compliment, do you actually accept it? Do you actually embody it? Or do you self-talk and say, they're nuts, I don't know what they see because that is not me? But when you start shifting that reality to, oh, maybe that is who I really am, and I'm going to allow myself to be that person that they just told me I am, because they see it the way it really is. We've changed it in our heads and negated it and moved it into a place of, I'm not worth that compliment. I'm not worth that activity. I'm not worth that positive emotion. I need to keep working at it harder by building more walls and more restrictions and more things that I can have control over, where we sometimes actually need to let go of the control so that we can actually just allow ourselves to shine. And we need to be our best friend and compliment ourselves. Not because it's, the right thing to do, but in a way it is kind of the right thing to do. But we have to have that compassion for ourselves. So that one oil will help with that. Bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. We have to love our flaws. I like one of the modalities that I work with is called the Path to Heal. And one of the things in there is about loving your oddities. I love oddities instead of the word flaw. Flaw immediately, like when you say the word flaw or you hear the word flaw, how does your body feel?
Like defeated.
Defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel defeated. You feel deflated. So, if you start looking at yourself in the mirror and go, oh my God, my thighs, they're so horrible. What the heck? You are already creating that negative. Well, I had that for years. I'm only picking on myself because this was mine for years. I'm like, oh my God, thunder thighs. You know, I had gone to Chico's up in Doylestown, I don't know how many years ago. I really wanted white pants. And I went in there, put on a pair, whatever size it was, it doesn't matter. And the woman's like, oh my God, those look great on you. And I was, in my mind, I'm like, they fit? I will agree with her that they fit. But I have thighs. They're not going to go anywhere because I'm an athlete. I thank God every day that I have these thighs because they allow me to go run and bike and do all the stuff that I love to do that makes me feel alive. But I don't need pants that accentuate the flaws, or, you know, or it's my God-given gift of thighs. But I don't need my clothes to accentuate that part and make me look lopsided. And I went to the store down the road, found a pair of jeans that basically made them go away, you know? And I'm like, so which ones do you think I bought? The ones at Chico's that accentuated what I considered something more negative that maybe other people wouldn't see, but I didn't want them to see that part. I wanted them to see that in a way that made me feel better as well. So it's kind of the selfish thing of you can't just go by what people say. You've got to actually embody that. I feel great in the clothes that I'm wearing as well. So self-love is about honoring your own needs. So what I want you to do right now is kind of on the physical side here. I want you to, on each one of these, you're going to write down something that you really want in the physical realm and something that you need. Because there's a difference between what you need and what you want. So I just want you to take a minute and write down what is something on a physical plane, be it movement, it could be eating better, it could be drinking water, it could be getting more sleep. You know, these are all some of the physical things that we need it, but we also sometimes just want it. You know, but what are some of the items in that physical realm that you need to make you feel your best? Something that if you had all the time and all the resources, that you could just put that in every single day, because it's something that just makes you feel amazing, makes you feel alive, makes your heart sing. And it could be as simple as I'm just going to eat ice cream all day, you know? But it's about being able to eat that ice cream without having the guilt and the shame and the embarrassment that goes along with it. But that's why I do the emotional and energy work. So in case we have that response, we don't have it for very long. Because you want to be loving to yourself regardless of where you are. Does anybody want to share one of their wants and needs?
Well, I need more sleep.
Okay. So the question is, when you say you need more sleep, how much are you currently getting?
Probably 6 hours, but I like to feel better and not have to feel like I'm getting that crash during the day. I think I need probably 7.
Okay.
7.5.
And so on those days that you are getting, we'll just call it sleep deprived, you know, do you feel that everything kind of is wonky that day with your eating, with the way that your motivation, with your creativity?
Yeah, and particularly in that like 3:30 to 5:30 time. Like that's when I feel like I could just either, you know, plow through my pantry or take a nap.
Yeah, well, and you know, and if you gave yourself,
it's all tied to,
right, but if you gave yourself permission to take a nap, would that be okay, or would that be something that you'd have that perception of, oh, I'm lazy? That's grown people aren't supposed to do that.
I do take a nap. I'll take like I can take a good 10 to 15 minute nap.
Yeah.
But I think that I think my body is telling me that I need more, because when I get that 7 to 7.5.
Yeah, you feel amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can go run 5Ks and, you know, place.
Yeah.
She did do that a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
So it's the beauty of Facebook. You find out what people do.
And I think it is tied into like when I get that dip in energy in the afternoon, and if I feel like I can't take 10 minutes to take a nap, then like I eat like crap because I think, oh, that's gonna make I'll get energy.
Yeah, well, and that's And then when you eat that crap, how do you feel
Not
afterwards?
good. I want to take a nap.
Yeah, right. So you should have taken the nap in the first place, right? Yeah. Right. So part of then the goal would be, okay,
Right.
you already recognize that this is one of your needs. How do I look at the rest of the day, and what are other things that are keeping me from getting that sleep?
Right.
How can I change the food? Because this is another part too. It's like, how can I change the food to give me the energy that I need so that I feel rejuvenated as opposed to even more depleted? Because the food that you eat is supposed to give you energy. You know, you can bless you can bless the crap out of your food, and it'll be better than what it was. But you know, calories are not always calories, and you know, a soda is not going to be as good as a bowl of broccoli. But you know, when you're stressed and tired and all that, the broccoli is probably not going to be like, oh yeah, I really crave broccoli. You know, eventually you actually do. When I'm stressed, that's actually what I crave is a lot more of the greens. You know, but I'm at that place of I know what my body needs, and I do that a lot with the clients that I have is teaching them to feed themselves on a level that they need and understand what are the patterns that they're doing and their eating patterns as well, so that they understand what they're doing to themselves.
Right.
Because you want to feed yourself on multiple levels, but be accepting that, you know what, sometimes you're just tired.
Yeah.
And as long as you are okay with that part, then you're actually loving to yourself. Even when you're still tired and you're choosing, as you call it, crap food, you know, still be loving to yourself, even though you had that, you know?
Right.
What can I do to make that better next time? I understand that this is where I am now, and it's about being in that present, which is kind of that spiritual, mental, emotional part. Breathe and bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself back to what is it that I need and how am I going to put that into place. Anybody else have anything that they want to share with their wants and needs? Or sleep is a common one. So another one that's usually common with clients that I work with, a lot of times it's the, I want sugar, but do you really need sugar, you know? And it's trying to identify the emotional connection to that food. Because a lot of times, you know, craving sugar, it could be the stress. It could be, you know, if you're craving chocolate, sometimes it's you're denying yourself love on some level. If it's like I said, it was earlier with the overwhelm. It's usually crunchy chips. You know, I remember several years ago I was planning a trip back to visit family, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to do all this stuff before I go, because you know, when you have your own business, you pretty much have to do everything. So plus you have to pack, and plus you have to do your laundry, plus you have to, you know, make sure that this is all lined up for the trip that you have. So I am just like in a state of freak out, like, oh my God, how am I going to get all this stuff done? And the chips, they were, I guess, healthier chips, but they're still chips nonetheless. So there were the sweet potato and corn chips by, I don't know, just whoever it is. But I literally couldn't stop eating that bag. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I pulled out my book for emotions, and I was like, oh, overwhelm. Oh, yeah. How about, yeah, okay, let me just look at what's the next thing I have to do. And as soon as I had the next thing that I had to do, and making it into a list of things that I could check off, instead of looking at this, oh my God, then the craving for the chips just went away and I never got it back. So every trip that I now take, I try to stay away from the, avoid the overwhelm, because I've already created that list based on what happened the last time. So it's about learning from those challenges, as opposed to saying self-defeating things as a result of it, and then creating more overwhelm and more negative self-talk. So we want to be loving to ourselves throughout the whole process. Does that make sense? The physical part. How many of us put down that they need to move or they want to move more? Anybody? Yeah. So a lot of what I do, I mean, I know Christy is a runner. I do swimming, biking, running, yoga, whatever I can possibly do. But my body craves activity. It just craves movement. 18 years ago, I had adrenal exhaustion, because with competitive athletes, adrenal fatigue isn't good enough. And adrenal fatigue is like chronic fatigue. But it was something where I didn't move for 2 weeks, And I walked into my doctor's office and he says, your body craves movement. You need to be moving every day. And it does. My body craves activity. So I have to put that in as a priority because that is what makes me feel alive. If I don't do it, like yesterday is the one time for the whole year that I didn't do anything. And it's literally like one day a year. And it just makes me feel better. And then I can take care of the other things better. And for me, I need to have that in the morning. If I don't do it in the morning, it's not going to happen later in the day. It's just my body just doesn't like it. I don't know how I was a triathlete for years doing morning and evening workouts. But it just likes the mornings, and that's what makes me feel alive every single morning. So it's something about what's the activity that makes you feel alive? What's the thing that makes you, maybe it's the dancing. So you work with somebody like Kristen. Maybe it's yoga. So you go to Ground Luminosity or your local yoga studio and you take care of you. What's the thing that makes you feel grounded, makes you feel alive, makes you feel like, you know what, I'm connected to me. That's what we want to try to find. And find that as a priority. How often have you felt that, it's selfish if I take care of me. I've got to take care of everybody else's needs. But you're not the best person at the table, basically, if you're not taking care of your needs first. Stick it in your calendar. Make a date with you. Saying no to other people's requests is actually a lot of times saying yes to you. It's not a problem. It's just, like when you go on a plane. You put the oxygen mask on you, then you take care of everybody else. So, and then several months ago, I heard something on, I think, Oprah Winfrey Network, where, that's a great little feed your spiritual stuff network. And I can't remember who they were interviewing, but she says, you are doing a disservice to yourself if you are not filling your own cup with love. You are supposed to take care of your cup first, not give it all out to everybody else and then your cup is empty. You share what's overflowing. So part of that taking care of you is taking care of you on that spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional plane and being able to put those pieces together so that you are the best person you can be and tell people what it is that you need. Ask for the help. If you have family that can help you kind of take care of some of those needs that you need to have taken care of, then get them involved. Get your friends involved. Get your coworkers involved. It's all about being able to communicate and ask for what you need. But if you don't know what those needs are, then it's hard to ask for them to be met. If you don't know what you need to make yourself feel alive, from either the physical, spiritual, mental, or emotional, or any of those aspects, it's hard to ask for it to be fulfilled. So then you end up being sometimes in that negative pattern of feeding yourself with food instead of feeding yourself with love. And it's hard to get out of because then a lot of those foods are actually triggering the imbalance instead of triggering the positivity. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Anybody have any questions? And then your homework is basically to fill in the wants and needs in the spiritual, mental, and in the emotional aspects too. Because otherwise I'm going to have you here all day. And you probably don't want me here all day. But a lot of what I do is it's nutrition, but it's incorporating all those other things because all those other things are all related.
How do you, if somebody comes to you and says, I need to start moving more, I need to do something, but I don't know what to do. How do you help them find, is there a way to help them find?
There is a way.
What works for you it's not the same for me. What works for me, it's not the same for somebody else. So,
well, and nutrition-wise, it's not the same for anybody either. Nothing is the same for anybody. There's 3 million.
Somebody say to me the other day, they said, I wish I could run. I said, but running's not for everybody.
If running makes you feel amazing, let's go find a way to make to help you find a way to run. Right. But if you didn't like it when you were a kid, you're not going to love it now. Right. If somebody told me go run on a treadmill, I'd be like, yes, yeah, gotta go. I'm going to go hike someplace else because that doesn't make my heart sing. Right. I have always loved being outdoors. Like in the summers when I was a kid, and a lot of times when people come to me asking that question, I said, well, what did you love to do when you were a kid? Right. Some of them, it's like, I love dancing. Well, how do we get dancing back into your repertoire? Yeah. I've got one client who, she got back into, actually into art, That was her thing that made her heart sing. And I have some amazing art from her. That was and that's what made her heart sing. It wasn't necessarily the physical activity, but she needed that to feed her soul.
Right.
You know, I went to her gallery opening that she had in Center City, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
There's other people that dance is their thing. Another one got back into horseback riding. You know, so it's really, that's usually my question is, what did you love to do when you were a kid? You know, okay, well, if you have physical limitations with that now, is there something that's close to it that you can do? Is there a way to do that in a modified way? Is there a way that you can do that at least twice a week? You know, so there's ways to find out. But the other thing is, expose yourself to as much stuff as you possibly can. Keep the curiosity, because if you're not curious, you won't try different things and stumble upon something that you might be like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. One client, salsa dancing, that ended up being he ended up loving salsa dancing. And that ended up being the way that he fit that into every week, and that would be his exercise. It doesn't feel like exercise, it's dancing.
Right.
But dancing is exercise, and it made his heart sing on multiple levels. And then it was also the group aspect and the social aspect, because you get to meet new people. And he was also social. So there's things like that where you have to ask the question of, well, what makes you tick? But if you don't know what makes you tick, I can ask you more questions to help you find that aspect, but you really know. You just haven't really slowed down to ask yourself yet.
Right.
I had to have adrenal exhaustion to basically slow down enough, because I had tunnel vision, and I just looked and there's my goal, and I'm going to that goal. Do not get in my way. I am going. And a lot of people now will still be like, how do you do all that stuff? I'm like, I just think it's fun. This is all fun stuff to me. So, and if it's not fun, I just don't do it. So it's really about what makes it fun for you, and just helping people to kind of get in touch with who they are. And it's interesting, because the more you get in touch on that spiritual and emotional and physical level with what you love to do, the food just kind of automatically changes.
And I think that what you said about actually putting ourselves first is so important, and filling our cup with love for ourselves is so important. I think as moms and as realtors and all that, we put everybody else before us.
Right. Yeah.
And we just can't continue to do that.
No, well, there comes a point where you get to that place of overwhelm, and oh, I'm going to take a vacation. Well, did you actually enjoy your vacation? Probably not, because you slept through the 8 days, out of 10. Great. Was that really helpful? Probably not. So you want to be able to have your mini vacations in the meantime, and I don't take that many vacations. I just don't. Not for any particular reason, but every time I go riding my bike out in the streets of or the roads of Bucks County, that to me is my little mini vacation. It's just such a beautiful thing. It's just like, so to me, it just like makes my heart sing, being out on the road. And now I met Mark, who has that same love of bike riding in the hills of Bucks County. So we just go play on bicycles, and it's all just play. So it's trying to find that thing that feeds your soul, so that you don't feel depleted and more depleted. But it's put that date in your calendar to be with yourself. Whether it's a half-hour yoga class or an hour yoga class, or, start with 10 minutes. Start with 5. But start with something and just put it in there. Nobody needs to know what you put in your calendar. It's just, I'm not available. Okay. And it's not to say don't be available for your clients, because, we're in a profession that if they've got questions, if something changes, you've got to be able to kind of work around it. But make that commitment to you, that if you need that half an hour in the afternoon to take a nap, take that half an hour to take a nap. Honor what your body needs, because the more you honor you, the more you're loving to you, and the more you can actually show up as the best version of you. And that's really what it's all about, is being in love with yourself and taking care of you as your best friend, because you are your best friend. You have to take care of you, and then you get everybody else to take care of you, because, you asked. And it's not being selfish. It's just saying, I'm having a hard time with this part. Can you help me with that? And that's all it is. I mean, when I had my hip replacement, I was walking with a cane. Talk about, understanding the giving and receiving aspect of it. I am not one to ask for help. Like, forget it. I am so independent. Do not even bother me with offering, because no, I can carry all my bags by myself. Until I got to a point where I could hardly carry anything because I couldn't even walk. My gym bag ended up having the absolute bare minimum in it because it would be too heavy and it would, make my hip hurt. And going to the grocery store, as having people just offer to help unload your car or your cart into the car, I was just like, really? Okay. And all of a sudden you could see people's, eyes light up and they're so helpful. And I suddenly realized, I was like, wow, I am not giving to myself by not allowing people to help me. I need to start asking that part. But I had to be debilitated in order to learn that one. So don't get debilitated, because that's the hardest way to learn. Just try, on your list of wants and needs, is there one of those needs that you're having trouble with? Ask for some help. It's okay. That's the way to honor you and be loving to you. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go through the little? I was ordained as a minister in February, so I'm gonna. I'm just gonna do a little meditation and a little bit of a blessing. And I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna kind of bring in the light and do all that, and then I'm going to read you a passage from my book, which is actually a compilation of messages that I got in meditation. And this one is all about beauty is all around you. So I'm gonna read that, but I'm gonna kind of have you all take a nice deep breath, sniff your wrist, because now that blend is really gonna help you feel a little bit more grounded. So take a deep breath. Feel it all the way in your belly, and just feel yourself melting into the chair, and try to put your feet firmly on the ground, and just allow yourself to sink in the chair, and just let the energy flow through the whole body. Father, Mother God, just now we call in the light of the Holy Spirit to love, fill, surround, and protect us. We ask the presence of the Jesus the Christ and the mystical traveler consciousness to fill us with love. We ask that any karma, negativity, or imbalances be transmuted to love and lifted into the nothingness from which they came. We ask you in this process that all be done for the highest good of all concerned, mainly all of you in this room today. We ask for the blessings of love now and through this process, and so it is. Purush Pishan. So continue that deep breathing, feel the light and the calmness surround you. So beauty is all around you. See the beauty that is there. It is everywhere at every moment. It is a choice on how you see life and moments around you. Every moment you can choose to see beauty, or you can choose to see something else. When in a loving relationship, you can choose to see the strengths and the positive attributes of a person, or you can choose to see their faults and ugliness. Life is not about finding faults, but about finding the beauty and the goodness. It is all around you if you just choose to look at it. You can choose to see yourself as a victim, or you can choose to see yourself as the able person to rise above the challenge. And the challenge is just a beautiful way to learn a lesson. You may find that when you change your perspective to that of a challenge or a beautiful lesson or a stepping stone, the world changes all around you. You can then be able to connect with God and the angels to provide the insight of what to do next, knowing that you have the power within to overcome that situation. When you choose the victim role, you suck the life out of yourself and out of others. When you see the beauty, on the other hand, you can notice how much help others can provide and how the challenge can quickly dissipate and be overcome. Learn to face the challenges with a different perspective. See the beauty in all of you and all you do, even if it has ugly aspects. Focus on the beauty and the richness of life. Focus on the richness of the people around you, the morning sky, the splendor of colors, the living things, the beauty in your heart, and the beauty in others. Do not pass through life with blinders on, but take the time to stop and see the beauty that is all around you. Beauty is everywhere. As you see this beauty, the beauty that is inside of you will expand as well. And you will see this beauty radiating all around you for others to see and others to feel. See the beauty, be the beauty, share the beauty. It is all beauty. And sometimes you just need to take that deep breath in and realize that, there's more beauty in the things that are around us. There's more love than there is non-love. So it's just about reconnecting to that aspect. And if you can just take that moment every day to kind of, well, what is it that I need? Or what do I need in this moment now? Then things just kind of shift and change. And the physical, mental, and emotional stuff all kind of, it's not that big of a deal anymore. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And then if you have any questions, my information is on the bottom. So it's Nutrition in Motion. It's nutritioninmotion.net.